Hello, my friends, whether you're new friends or old friends. Glad you're here. I'm solo today. It's been a long time since I just spent some time alone, you and myself. I've kind of missed it, hoping you have too. So, you're asking Jacqui, what are our topics today? What are we going to discuss? One of them is kindness, and the other is value. And because I'm a chaos artist, I'm going to go off topic a time or two. Can't be helped. All right, let's check out that intro. Welcome to Jacqui Just Chatters. By sharing people's stories, I strive to generate laughter, inspiration, maybe help you escape from the stressful world. I am your hostess, Jacqui Lents, who's still figuring out her own story. This podcast comes out every other Thursday. I can be found wherever you get your podcast or on YouTube. I'd be most grateful if you left me some stars or a review, and subscribe if you never want to miss an episode. Thank you for listening and sharing. All right, we are back. And I want to start off with talking about value. Nope, I take that back. I want to talk about my sister first. I was talking about doing this episode and doing a solo one, and my sister had all kinds of thoughts and feelings about how this should go. And she's like, I don't like it when you're super scripted. Okay, she doesn't sound like that, and she's going to smack me when she hears me saying that. But that's what happens, Nick, when you tell me to just go off the cuff and just do what I want. See, these things just I wouldn't have done that if I had a script. She's like, just have some bullet points and go off and just kind of say what you feel. So you're getting a lot of feel. And as you can tell, I don't like it. I don't know what exactly I'm going to say, so I say more stumbles. I pause too long. It's going to make a pain in the butt for editing, so that's not fun. I feel completely vulnerable, not having a safety blanket of a nice script for me to follow. A little fearful too of like what the heck's going to fly out of my mouth. Yeah, but I'm going to try it. This is on you, Nikki, if it goes bad, or I guess you could say I'm actually doing it for you because I love you and you're my favorite sister. I was talking about value, and I'm going to talk about the value of human beings. And let's stop right there. We've all heard this saying, right? We are human beings, not human doings. That's important. Like, just us being means we should be valued and we should get kindness. We often don't do very good jobs of being kind to ourselves with our self-talk. We have that inner critic in our head, and it tends to say some pretty mean things to ourselves. I think I'm not alone. I think a lot of us have inner critics that say some pretty mean things, stuff that we would never ever say to a friend. And I'd probably not even to strangers or people we don't like. I noticed that my inner critic kind of hogs the microphone in my head. Like she goes off and she's complaining all the time, and I just don't like what she has to say. In the last week or so, I've actually had kind of the same conversation with two different friends about the horrible things our inner critics say to us and that we would never say them to anyone else. And they're not good things. And it really got me thinking about how that inner critic could come down to habit. That they're the ones that are used to holding the microphone, controlling the conversation, and saying all these mean things to us instead of kind things to us. And we can, with great effort and concentration, change habits. I came up with this idea to try to do positive talking to myself. That 3 times a week, for 5 minutes, I would talk kindly to myself. And I knew I would have to take my phone and set a 5-minute countdown because I would never make it 5 minutes if I didn't have the phone telling me, like, you have to keep going. I wasn't really sure about doing this. I'm like, okay, this is probably stupid. But I'm like, you know what? Hey, maybe it is stupid. But you won't know unless you try. And the first time was about as awkward and weird as you're imagining. You probably think, I couldn't do that. Oh my God. You can. You can do it. You won't do it well. It was so strange. Now, to be clear, I talked to myself verbally, like I'm talking to you right now. I couldn't do it just in my head. I had to say it out loud. I wanted the sound to hit my eardrums. It's like as if almost somebody else is saying this stuff to me. It felt so strange. I'm like, okay, 5 minutes, we're done. I'm like, oh, thank God. This was horrible. I don't want to do this again. And I gave myself like a day, two, and then I'm like, okay, got to do it again. And I'm like, oh, I don't want to do that. I'm like, shut up. You're going to try this experiment. It may fail, but we're going to scientifically show that it failed, not just give up. I did it again out loud to myself. I set my timer. Mentally, I'm like, okay, you are going to be a cheerleader to yourself. Just tell yourself good things that you would want a friend to say to you to build up your confidence or whatever. And one of the things I also did for myself was like, hey, forgive your trespasses. The things that you have not done perfectly yet, that's okay. You get to forgive yourself. We're human, we err, and it's all right. You're still a good person. You're still lovable, even though you messed up. Or things just didn't go the way you want them to. Like, one of the things I had to forgive, a few days ago, I had a panic attack. I struggle with anxiety, and actually my anxiety is the best it's been since before I started having trouble with anxiety, actually. And I haven't had a panic attack in a year, maybe two. It's been a long time. I've gotten really anxious, and I've got tools to kind of help keep it from a full-on panic attack. But then all of a sudden, I was sitting with my husband and we were pulling our tax stuff together, and I just felt like sick. And I could tell my heart was racing, and my chest hurt, and other things were hurting, and I just felt all off, and the world felt kind of tilty, and my brain was like kind of shutting down. I'm like, this is a panic attack. I'm like, it's been a long time, but you used to have these. And here's the crazy thing about panic attacks for those of you who don't experience them. You start to panic because you're having a panic attack. They're so freaky and upsetting. You begin to panic. So it's like adding panic on top of panic. It's really stupid, but that's just how it goes. And by the way, I'm not looking for pity. Nobody who does, we don't want pity. What we would like is understanding, and we'll often tell you if we can what we need. And my husband was amazing, because I'm like, okay, I've got a panic attack happening, and these items that we still have to get for our tax stuff, you need to go get that. I have to breathe and try to figure out what's going on. I try to breathe and force myself to relax, and things just weren't going well. And I'm like, all right, what caused this? What triggered this? I'm like, is it putting the taxes together? And I'm like, oh, that's stupid. No. Like, we're just putting our papers together. I'm gonna go drop the stuff off. It's no big deal. Then I began to realize, hey, you're in a cycle time right now, and you're a perimenopausal woman, and you've been having emotional swings around these times because perimenopausal and hormones do happen. And it's weird. I never had hormone problem before this time. I just never did. I thought it was kind of this myth that women would talk about, because I never experienced it until I was in my mid-40s. And I'm like, oh my gosh, that's it. It's my hormones. There are chemicals running through my brain right now, telling it for some reason that I'm under attack. It's freaking out. And I'm like, okay, there actually is not really much I can do about it. My chemistry is against me. So I decided to use chemistry against chemistry. I've got an emergency bottle of Xanax. I've got a few pills to take when I really need them. And I'm like, okay, this is one of those times. I'm going to take a Xanax. I'm going to breathe. I'm going to chill. I'm going to let that kick in and get rid of the worst of the symptoms. After I go to bed, I'll probably wake up and I'll feel fine. And I did. And I was so upset with myself for having a panic attack. And I was like, whoa, 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 buddy. You didn't have a panic attack. You didn't fail. It's just something that happened. And even if you did, it doesn't matter. You're still going to be okay. And you're fine and you're good and you're wonderful no matter if you have the panic attack or not. It's all right. After that, I thought about my fight with social media. Because with social media, oh my God, there's so much pressure on your brain. It's designed to make you focus on how many likes, subscriptions, comments, all that stuff that you get. And I'm getting kind of like warped up in that. And I'm like, no, that doesn't matter. I need to be happy. I need to be proud of who I am and what content I put out. I deserve to be pleased with myself. It doesn't matter what anyone else thinks. I mean, in the general sense, obviously, I'm not going out trying to tick people off or whatever. And it's nice if I make people happy and they connect to what I'm doing. But it needs to start with I'm happy with it and what I'm doing and what I'm not doing. That's where it begins, is having that self-confidence of pleasing myself first. I am worthy of my own love. And it was so strange. I actually did feel a little pepped up. I did feel a little better afterwards. And that was only the second time. So I'm going to keep at it. I'm going to keep doing it. And who knows? Maybe this is a new habit that is starting up for me. That would be nice. Now, if you're looking for ways to have real impact and habit in your life, I don't know. Maybe you can try this. Or there's a bajillion things you could do. You know, every morning in the mirror, you look at yourself and say, hey, I love you, which I know for a lot of you, like, oh my gosh, that's too much. I can't start with that. Okay. Maybe while you're in the shower, you tell yourself, hey, you're special and I better take care of you. On Monday, you know, like you get a bud vase that you can use every week, and every Monday you put like a single flower in, or you could splurge and get like the cheap spring bouquet or whatever and buy yourself flowers. And that's the important thing. They don't come from somebody else. You buy yourself flowers because you deserve it. You know, there's a million ways to show yourself that you are important and to show yourself kindness. That I think we need to do it more often. Your mood should not depend on how others see you, talk to you, not letting others control how you view yourself. And you swing like a pendulum when they like you, and you crash the floor when you haven't heard from them in a week. It just, yuck, 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 yuck. It's not fun. Let's all try to get away from that stuff. So I'm going to tell you right now, you are special. You deserve care and kindness and love, all of that from yourself. You have value, which I'll come back to that theme later. But okay, right now, soapbox is going to get off. I'm done. What's new with me? Haven't had a chance to catch up in my life in a while. Writing. Well, I finished my second manuscript, which right now I'm calling the Daphne Project, which worst title ever. I know. It's okay. It doesn't matter. Either I'll figure something else out or they'll change. The titles don't matter to me. Like somebody else's job to figure those things out. Right now that I'm done, my goal is to give big edits to both my manuscripts, the Bob and Ruth story one and the Daphne one. I want to go through and edit them. They both need to go to a professional editor and get tweaked. And then I'm going to start up my agent search again and send out my babies looking for some love. And that's going to be the year. I'm hoping that this is the year to treat myself for finishing my manuscript. I am allowing myself to do a bit of a book binge, and I have a nice little tidy TBR pile. I just finished one of them and it was really good, surprising. And I'm just going to keep on working through that for a while and just enjoy getting lost in book after book after book. Doesn't that sound fun? You're free to hate me right now. I would hate me too. I will be posting about these books, reviews of them. on Facebook and Instagram. Oh, I can't remember if I told you I'm on Instagram now. I've got my 20th anniversary coming up in the fall. 20 years. How did that go by so fast? Oh my gosh. You blink and those years just go by so quickly. Though I'm very happy to say, as I'm heading into my 20th anniversary in a few months, I still love and adore my husband. I would marry him again in a heartbeat. He is my best friend, and I adore him. One of the best decisions of my life, marrying him. So here's my problem. And again, feel free to hate me, because I would too. I don't know what to do for my 20th. We've talked a little about maybe recreating our honeymoons. Yes, there's an S at the end of that. We got married in the fall, and I'm a teacher, so no teacher should ever get married during the school year, by the way. That was stupid, young, foolish folly on me. Because it also meant our anniversary always fell during the school year. And you can't exactly do a lot of cool stuff when you're working all the time. The year we got married, I had conferences the next week. Like, talk about a bad time to get married. We went off for like 3 days to Mackinac City. I mean, it was this tiny little quickie honeymoon. And then we had a short midwinter break, and I think it was like 4 days, something like that. We went down to Savannah and Tybee Island, fell in love. So that was like our second part of our honeymoon. And then our final part of our honeymoon was in the summer, and we could actually go away for like a week. I think we went for like 9 days or something like that. And we went to Nova Scotia, and that was gorgeous and brilliant, and loved it. And we've talked about recreating all 3 trips, which that sounds kind of nice. But I'm also like, well, we could go someplace new and exciting, celebrate the next 20 years of our marriage. We could have a big party. I don't know. I don't know exactly what I want to do. So, give me your advice. I'll put a post like on Instagram, Facebook, and then you guys can chime in and tell me your thoughts of what you think I should be doing for my 20th. Another big thing with me is I got interviewed on another podcast. Fantastic interviewer, Cara Infanti. She interviewed me on her podcast, Bookish Flights, and it's all about books, which, yay, love it. She invites guests on, and they kind of have a theme topic, and the guest talks about 3 books that they like in that theme or topic and discuss them. So I did uplifting books. Because with the show and everything, I try to have things that are more uplifting, have a positive message. I had actually thought about doing a book episode here, and I'm like, well, heck, I'll just put it on her show. So we had a great conversation. Too great. I felt so bad. I left her with like 2 hours of us chatting, and she had to edit that down. So again, I'm super sorry for not being concise and getting to the point. I hope you can forgive me. I will put a link out to that when it comes out. You can find it again on all my socials. All right, next, I have some stories about value. And value is not just the amount of money something is worth. Value means that something or someone is worthy of attention, care, love. I firmly believe we all have something to contribute to the world, even if it's in our small little corner. It's still something that we're contributing. And I have found 3 stories that are all about value and places and people who are not young. All right, so let's get to those stories. I want to give a shout out to Monterey Weekly newspaper for this tale of valuing the past. So our first story takes us to the west coast of the US of A. Hear the waves crashing on the coastal upscale town of Monterey, California. Now we will fall back in time before it was a swanky hip village known for sea otters. We go back to 1846, and a resident named Jack Swan. Now, the Swan part makes me think of Elizabeth Swan from Pirates of the Caribbean, which, okay, is the wrong gender and wrong ocean, and Jack wasn't a pirate, but he was a sailor. So there's sort of a connection, I guess. Anyway, so Jack Swan built himself a house made from bits of wood that he scrabbled together back in 46. And then he added a boarding house. And in 1848, he added a small stage for entertainment. Jack Swan gets the joy of constructing the first theater in California. Isn't that fancy? This palace to plays stayed a theater for a whole whopping 2 years before going through a series of transformations. It just didn't stay permanent for long until the 1930s, when it gets brought back to being a theater once again. This time the theater had a much longer run, lasting until 1992. Now, this could have been the end of Jack Swan's stage, but a group of volunteers saw the importance of the building and theater. They organized and began the slow work of trying to get enough money they needed to bring the building up to code. The place needed to be made safe enough to deal with earthquakes and comply with the American with Disabilities Act. Both pretty reasonable. I am pleased to say that work has been done on the building. It is now reopened for tours and possibly rentals. But new shows are not able to begin just yet. More work is required to make the stage ready for plays. But at least the building is open to the public, and that is a first step. Congrats to all those who've been working towards this for decades. Way to never give up. It is wonderful to see a building who has given so much to its community to have that kindness returned. The next story comes from the Berkshire Eagle. Age is certainly a state of mind for Pamela Clark, or more widely known as Birthday Girl. On March 30th, 2022, the day she turned 76, Clark took her first step on her goal to walk the whole Appalachian Trail. Hikers on the trail use nicknames, hence hers, Birthday Girl. She began her journey north, making friends and gaining internet popularity along the way. She also used a very unique safety technique. Clark was worried that if something happened to her and a search party went looking, they might miss her. They might not be able to find her, which does happen from time to time. So she dyed her hair purple, making sure no one would pass over her. I think that's pretty creative. By autumn, she had made her way to Harper's Ferry in West Virginia. That's when she decided to switch things up. She headed up to Maine and began walking south on the trail. I can just imagine the colors must have been so magical. But then Clark had to put the brake on her walking altogether. She left the trail to have surgery on her elbow, so that put the kibosh for a little while. But when she was ready to get back to hiking, she picked up where she left off in Harper's Ferry, West Virginia, and started the trek heading north. In March of this year, she slugged her way up Mount Greylock in Massachusetts. She has completed more than 1,500 miles of her journey in the past year. The whole Appalachian Trail is 2,200 miles long. Correct. Your math is right. She has not finished the trail. And after her tough trek at Mount Greylock, she decided to take a break until winter has passed. So she has not completed her goal of doing the whole trail in 1 year, which would have made her the oldest person to ever do so. But that doesn't mean she's finished. I look forward to hearing in the spring or summer of her completion. She is an inspiration to us all.
Never stop, I'll get it if I want it. Gotta made to myself a promise. I won't quit, keep going till I got it. I won't give up till I'm on top. Yo, no, I ain't the type to give up. If I just...
Thanks to WRAL News and the Pilot newspaper for our last and very inspirational story. In the small town of Cameron, North Carolina, a gentleman named Nick Levy is one of many trying to save a historic home. The building has a very personal connection to Levy. It was built by his great-great-grandfather, Murdoch MacLeod McKeithen, for his bride, Bella Ferguson. Could these names be more Scottish? Recently, it was owned by their granddaughter, Isabel McKeithen, clearly named after Belle, who, for decades before her passing, ran a charming tea room from the home. The extensive white-painted Victorian home, with large detailed porch and gabled roofline pulling your eyes to the sky, is the kind of structure from fairy tales. And like a fairy tale, there is a dramatic plot twist. Miss Belle's home, as it's known, is in danger of being demolished. A local church purchased the land and has requested that the building be torn down. The judges put a hold on that, allowing the town time to try to gather enough money to move the house to a new location. Step in the hero of the hour, Gary Oldham. He has property near the original site with ample room for Belle's home. He is pleased to have it moved there. At first, he was fine with paying for the move himself, but quickly realized the price tag was way above what he could afford. Moving a home is not an easy business, and so the Cameron Historic Preservation Incorporated is trying to gain the necessary $175,000 needed for this move. As of March 19th, they had raised $85,000. Then a huge Save Miss Belle's Bash took place on March 25th. The event raised over $14,000. They are currently 62% on their way to their target. They have until May 1st to reach that goal. I will be including contact information in the episode's notes in case you want to help out the cause. If they are successful in their plan, one day in the future, you could even stay in Belle's house. Mr. Oldham's plans are to renovate the place and open it as an Airbnb. Links to all the stories can be found in the episode notes. If you would like more details, you can find them there. I'd like to give a shout out to my Australian listeners. Hey down there! I'm so glad to have you as part of my listening community. I hope you are doing well. I hope you enjoyed our little chat together today. I know I have. And remember, no matter how young or old you are, you've got value, especially to me. Until the next episode, which don't miss out because it's going to be my next story share episode, and the theme is coming of age. I hope you'll be back for that. Until then, I wish you well.